Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fay, and welcome to the New Card Report. Crossover Breakers sure did break the meta, am I right, duelists? Or a ban list did, one of the two. Either way, Alliance Impact has revealed 2 new cards for each of the Crossover Breakovers 3 archetypes, because shockingly, Ryu-Ge, or however I meant to say it, still exists, even if only as a way for me to mispronounce something in this video. So with no further delay, let's take a see at what the new toys the best decks are getting and see if we can remember anything about the Ryu-Ge archetype at all in any capacity. Tensei Ryu-Ge Anva is a pendulum monster, also known as my least favorite type of card to go over because, good Christ, the number of words in these things, it never, ever ceases to amaze me. This is a standard Ryu-Ge card, being a level 10, and it's a Dark Dragon with 3000 attack, 2100 defense, and a pendulum scale of 11. Its pendulum effect is an authentic one straight from 2014, only allowing you to pendulum summon Ryu-Ge monsters because this is the designated bad archetype of the set. It also has an effect that when an opponent's card or effect is activated, in response to your Ryu-Ge spell or card or effect's activation's resolution, you can negate that effect and destroy this card, which is a really convoluted way to saying it negates its resolution and you can't fuck with the field spell. And that does have a good old hard once per turn on it, so hey, no protecting 2 spells if you hard brick on multiples of it, because you're playing Ryu-Ge and you are meant to be losing, goddammit. For the monster effect, you contribute 1 Ryu-Ge monster from your hand or field to special summon this from your hand, and if it's special summoned at all, you can target and pop 1 card on the field. 2014! And if this card itself is destroyed, you can place 1 Ryu-Ge continuous spell or trap from your deck, grave, or banishment face up onto your field. And of course, all of these have hard once per turns. Now, I did the inconceivable and read some of the Ryu-Ge cards when writing the script, and this seems to really be solid for, if nothing else, protecting the field spell like I mentioned. That's the one that lets you spam all 3 of the weather trio and make your big play, so helping keeping that lone play that matters safe is good, if nothing else, for the deck. Whatever that means in regards to Ryu-Ge. It also pops itself and can pop something on summon, which means that it can potentially give you the 2 destruction effects for you to summon Groudon from its hand with that card's condition, which is neat. It's a little bit of synergy in the deck. Probably would have preferred it if you could protect any of your plays, but I guess only the field spell matters, so that's all it needs to protect, Copium. It's solid for the deck because it's solid. What needs to be said? It is Dark attribute, notably, meaning that this deck has 5 of the 6 main core attributes. Divine doesn't count, quit pretending it does. So if there's one more thing Ryu-Ge players can get, it's an extra bit of Copium that will get 1 more card of the Fire attribute to maybe hopefully be slightly more playable. Oh, and the only continuous trap that this can search is, of course, the other new card, so let's take a look at that. Ryu-Ge Ruin is, as said, a continuous trap that, while face up, makes your Ryu-Ge monsters untargetable by card effects. It has 2 hard once per turn effects, one requiring you to have a Ryu-Ge pendulum monster either face up in your extra deck or on the field. And that'll let you shuffle 2 Ryu-Ge monsters from your hand, grave, and or banishment back into the deck to then target and pop a monster specifically on the field. And if it's destroyed, you can set a non-continuous trap from your deck, of which there's 1 target. Now, protection from targeting is nice. No Valor or Imperms is pretty cute, if nothing else, and it can get cards back into the deck if need be to help the field spell, which is something. Really, it's a pop that can recycle resources, which is at least decent in some capacity, and, you know, especially if you're playing this and you've summoned it or set it onto the field with the new monster. And by set, I mean placed, because words matter. Oh, and the only trap that this sets is, of course, an E-Telly that bounces whatever it summons at the end phase, so it's not great, but it's not terrible. All in all, it's 2 solid cards for the deck. The monster seems a little bit better if you ask me, and if I'm wrong, then by all means clown on me. I don't pretend to know Ryu-Ge at all in any capacity. I might pick it up because it's cheap enough, but that doesn't mean that I think it's good or I'm invested in it. It just means I have an addiction. And now, onto the cards for the good decks that the people don't want to be good, or really, really want to be good, depending, of course, on whether or not you're playing the good decks. Malice is getting some solid cards here as well, starting with Malice P. March Hare, a level 3 Dark Cybers with 600 attack and 300 defense. While on the field, your opponent can't target any Malice Link monster that points to this, and like all modern cards, we get 2 hard once per turn effects to talk about as well. The first is a tried and true Cyber staple because it can summon itself. This one, by banishing a Malice card from your hand or grave, can summon itself from the hand, and if this card itself is banished, you can pay 300 life points to target a banished Malice monster and add that card to your hand. And of course, there's nothing there to restrict you from recovering itself. I mean, you can banish this with Dormouse or the field spell, and then pay 300 to add it to your hand, and then by banishing another Malice card, you can summon it and proc another banish effect. So it's kind of like a pseudo Dotscaper replacement of sorts, not quite doing what Dotscaper does, but also doing pretty much exactly what Dotscaper does. It also means that if you have this and Dormouse and a Malice Link pointing at the both of them, that Malice Link becomes a Towers of sorts, which is kind of funny. Doesn't seem all that optimal to me, or like it'll be common at all based on what I've seen Malice do, but it's doable. It's an extender and a name for the deck, which are not bad things, and that means that it's exciting to someone. It's not a broken or insanely good card, but that doesn't make it bad in any stretch. Impressive. Very nice. Let's see Paul Allen's new spell card. Sorry, I meant the new Malice Quick Play spell card. Malice in the Mirror is one hell of a name and is the new quick play spell whose card art was spoiled to us by the YCS Japan participation mat. And it lets you target a face-up monster the opponent controls, banish a Malice monster from your hand or field, and then negate the targeted monster's effects until the end phase. It also, of course, has an effect if banished because it's a Malice card, and this one will let you target another Malice card in your grave and banish that, and then add one Malice card with the same card type as whatever it is you banished. So if you banish a monster, you can then search a monster, or if you banish a trap, you can then search a trap. And I guess if you banish a spell, you could add a spell, but the only other spell is the field spell, which you can, search with Red Ransom, and I really don't see you playing multiples of this to add another copy of it, so I don't think it's bad, but it's also not exactly what the deck was lacking in already either, in my opinion. I think you'll see, 2 or 3 March Hares and lists, and then one of the spell, and then the ceiling for the deck will be a little bit higher, but it's not like Malice boards were already lacking, so I don't know if it's really going to elevate Malice to the next level, but I do know that it's not going to take it down any notches, so that's something to say, isn't it? New card make deck good. Truly, I'm a revolutionary. And then there's Ryzeal, the other top dog who gets something to truly revolutionize the deck, a level 4. Insane, I know. Bet you did not see that coming. Star Ryzeal is a light pyro with 1800 attack and 0 defense that can summon itself from your hand by detaching a material from an Xyz monster you control. And summoning it this way, of course, locks you into rank 4 Xyz monsters for the turn. And if it's special summoned by any means, you can set one Ryzeal spell or trap from your deck onto your field, because we are leaving Ash Blossom in the dust, goddammit. Go Ash your own forehead, we set directly to the field in this household. We are power creeping that 2017 staple-ass bitch. My god, just going over a Pendulum monster at the start of this video and then a Ryzeal monster now is night and day difference, let me tell you. This is an extender for the deck that can get the field spell for the deck that plays it. What more needs to be said? The field spell is a little negate on res type monster nonsense anyways, it's just good. I don't think I've seen anyone playing the trap, and maybe a few people playing the Reborn as like a fun of one of type deal, but this extends and it searches, so wow mom, it's a Ryzeal card. I can't believe it's good. And you know what's not good? Ryzeal Mass Driver. Yeah, bad Ryzeal card, just to change it up a little bit. This normal trap applies its effect when it's activated, and then it attaches itself as a material to a rank 4 monster you control. So when you activate it, all your Ryzeal monsters will gain 1000 attack. And that's it. But if it's sent from anywhere that isn't to the field to the graveyard, it can also be a DD Crow. That's something, right? So it's pretty ass, pretty bad, pretty forgettable. But it's also a pretty funny moment when you attach it to a Dweller before Dweller gets banned circa the OCG, and then you get to activate it a third time and then banish a card that they wouldn't be able to activate the effect of anyways from the graveyard because you activated Dweller. So yeah, Star is the star of the show. Not that phenomenal, but hey, at least Duo Drive isn't the only way to get the field spell for Ryzeal now, so that's at least something. None of them seem primed to make any of their decks insanely above the level they're at right now. Either Star is the best card, depending on what your feelings are, or March Hare. I think I'd maybe lean March Hare a little bit, but I don't actually know. It's probably going to depend on which deck you play or the one you hate most. Just know that someone who hates Malice will complain more about Hare than Star, and someone who hates Ryzeal will complain more about Star than Hare. What a beautiful sentence, huh? Anyways, congrats to Ryu-Ge players, your cards weren't completely overshadowed. That's what we in the business call the lone win Ryu-Ge is capable of getting. You remember all that nonsense about the mid-core player and decks and, beating pro players shitting on it? I am dogpiling on that deck, but in my defense, it's way easier to be entertaining when you're more critical than to desperately try and make a very middling deck better than it is, because I'm sorry to the Ryu-Ge players, but you know exactly what you're putting up with and why I'm saying what I'm saying. And so that wraps it up for this new card report, just covering some of the new cards in this one. The update will be out on Friday as always, and until then, I've been your host, Mr. Toast. Go ahead and make sure you subscribe to YGO Strats. Not only will you impress your smoking Italian wife, but you'll also become a true duelist. And it literally is as easy as that.